Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekends, the series where we run through wiki pages to see if there's anything interesting to talk about. And Karl, as always, there is something interesting to talk about this subject because we're talking about more Mass Effect.
Oh, Mass Effect Sundays.
Apologies, I forgot to introduce my lovely co-host, Karl Smallwood.
Nah, it's fine, it happens.
It does happen sometimes, and, I was just too excited to talk about Mass Effect once again. And today, Karl, we're going to be talking about something that's relevant to, the playthrough that we are doing on my Twitch channel at the moment.
Ooh, okay, tell me.
Because we decided to go and romance Thane, which neither of us are really familiar with doing that romance option. And I figured we would discuss the Drell.
So the Drell is the race that Thane belongs to, yes?
That is true, yes.
The incredible, fuckable, kissable race.
The race invented to sleep with, yes.
Literally invented. Designed to be as fuckable as possible.
Yeah, so we did talk about this back in the past before, but yeah, Thane was essentially added and designed for this game just as another romance option for females, essentially, for female shepherds specifically, and it was a more targeted thing towards women who are playing the game.
That? It's still one of my favourite stories of video game development.
You go ahead, Karl. You explain. You know better than me.
Okay, so in the first Mass Effect game, you could romance, I think, 3 characters, was it? You could romance
Kaidan, Liara, Ash. Could you not romance Garrus in number 1?
No, because he was the one who requested options to romance. And when BioWare did some research with their audiences about what they wanted in the new game, a lot of them responded a lot of women responded, can we have more romance options for us? And they were confused, like, well, you can romance Kaidan, the milquetoast dude, or Liara, the buxom, slamming badonk-donk alien. To which a lot of women responded of like, well, we don't really find that attractive. And they're like, well, who do you find attractive? Well, one, Garrus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Garrus became a romance. He was the most requested romance option because a lot of women just liked how, just the fact that just Garrus respects you.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to say the fact that Garrus just wants zero red tape or responsibilities.
That as well, but detail of Mass Effect that I think is low-key accidental genius is that they wrote almost every line of dialogue to be gender neutral, regardless of whether. So whether you're playing as male shepherd or female shepherd, they didn't need to write new lines, which means that everyone just respects female shepherd and doesn't talk down to you for being a woman, including all of your teammates. And a lot of women really responded strongly to that in regards to Garrus, who just does not question your command or awkwardly hit on you.
There is a couple of vague options here and there where I think it's Harkin makes a sly comment if you're a female shepherd, but for the most part, it is written gender neutral for shepherd, yes.
Yeah, and while they were coming up with new ideas for characters that could be romanced, they were like, well, let's invent a new romance option for women that is specifically designed to be as attractive to women as possible. And that's how Thane came into be, but it didn't exactly work out initially, did it, Lucas?
Well, it turns out they forgot to ask women what was attractive.
Which is why it's my favourite story about game development. So all the guys just sat down and thought to themselves, what do women find attractive? Asked no women, and came up with what was described by a woman who saw the concept art that you'll no doubt put on screen as, they look like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Because they thought to themselves, well, what do we find, think that women like? And they thought, well, badass, cool, assassin guy. And they made a guy who looks like, lots of women said, a serial killer. And when they actually asked women, what do you find attractive? Almost every single one said, not that.
Yeah, and then you look at Thane, who is one of our Drell that we are talking about today, of he's got the big kissable lips, he's got the deep soulful eyes, and he's an assassin still, but he's super compassionate. He's
got an edge, but there's he's a knife on a silk pillow.
It's a good way to describe it.
And one of the details about Thane that just the guys behind the scenes making it did not get until women just explained it to them in excruciatingly simple detail is that, look, we just want a guy who doesn't look like he's gonna kill us. But don't you want a big badass buff dude? It's no, we don't want that. That's not attractive. Some women do find that attractive, but the vast majority of respondents said we want someone who's more androgynous looking, someone who's stylish. passionate, soulful.
It's that one of those weird convergent things as well of there's a lot of media about falling in love with like weird looking fishmen.
No, yeah.
Again, with those big soulful eyes.
Well, that's the detail you always need to look at. It's the kissable lips and the soulful eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they were initially, a lot of the guys on the crew were confused. Like, well, why do you like Garrett? And they explained, because he talks to us like a peer.
Yes, yeah.
He doesn't hit on you awkwardly, like Caden does if you play as FemShep and you're nice to him.
Yeah, because I remember when we were playing through Mass Effect 1, of course, we're just making our way through the trilogy, like, it was weird, because out of nowhere, Caden's like, oh, Commander Shepard, I've been picking up on a lot of signals. It's like, what signals, Caden? We weren't sending any.
An unintended bit of genius is that playing FemShep is like playing as a woman in real life, because you're just nice to a guy and he misconstrues that as you wanting to fuck him. It's like the most realistic representation. Always like to be a woman, and it's completely unintentional.
I remember you saying that about Baldur's Gate 3 as well, of like, you're just nice to men, and they're like, oh, so we're sleeping together then.
Fantastic.
Oh, dear. But anyway, going back to the Drell themselves.
Yes.
The Drell are a reptile-like race that were rescued from their dying homeworld by the Hanar following first contact between the two. Since then,
the Hanar gonna do?
Since then, the Drell have remained loyal to the Hanar for their camaraderie and have fit comfortably into galactic civilization.
Isn't there like a thing in like Mass Effect somewhere that there's like a series, like a John Wick-esque series about like a Hanar assassin?
I remember someone in chat mentioning that, yeah, of like there's like an in-universe movie series or something about like Hanar assassins.
I would watch that, because like the Hanar are my favourite race of greetings, human.
Do you desire to learn of the Enkindlers?
Hide in plain sight, mate. You know, that's the thing, you don't expect the jellyfish to just whip out 4 clocks.
That's the thing I keep mentioning. It's just, I want to now see a scene where it's just a Hanar whipping out like 8 guns at the same time. Like, just...
I look like the Hanar are so cool. And one of the reasons we love Mass Effect is because the aliens within it feel alien. Like, not all of them necessarily look alien. A lot of them just are like, you know, bipedal, almost human-like. But their culture is alien. Like we mentioned, like the Solarians, because they live, what, like 45 years or something? Mm-hmm. So when you talk to, like, Mordin, he talks like he just misses words out. Because obviously, growing up in a race where you live for half of what the other races in the galaxy, and in the case of the Asari, like a 10th, a 20th of what they do.
Yeah, because they live for like 1,000 years or something.
And the fact you've got to speak Galactic Basic, of course you're going to, like, you know, just come up with a way that allows you to speak it quicker.
And I believe here it says that the Drell actually live a lifespan of 85 galactic standard years, which is just their way of saying Earth years, I believe.
Let me guess, that somehow they're almost exactly like Earth years.
Yeah, just so happens to be that the galactic standard is just all formed around Earth, even though Earthlings are like brand new to the galactic culture because they're behind in technology
it's
and
always
space
the
travel.
way, isn't it? It's like humans. Like if you're creating a space universe, what do we call the money? Credits. You're creating a fantasy universe, what do you call the money? Gold.
Just so happens that they all speak English.
Yeah, they all speak Galactic Basic.
Yeah, the Drell appear to have 5 fingers on each hand, albeit the ring and middle fingers are fused, and their skin is apparently infused with venom mild enough to be served in drinks, and may cause mild hallucinations on oral contact.
So basically, they are designed to be kissed.
Yeah, like...
literally designed to be kissed.
That means that when you are femshep romancing Thane, it's just every time you kiss him, you go, like, slightly hallucinogenic, and it's like, you're going on a trip by romancing them. That just implies that romancing a Drell is just better. Because, I mean, you'd hope it would be a good hallucination, not a bad one, but...
I guess it would be informed by the situation at hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I was a Drell assassin, I'd just kiss everyone before they died.
If I was in that room with Thane and he was sweet-talking me, like, you'd have the best hallucinations.
Yeah, you just see, like, being drawn towards his lips.
Because that's the thing is, we've mentioned before that just... neither of us are really familiar with the Thane romance, which is why we've chosen to do it this time. And it's why it's always a fun thing to do repeat playthroughs and change aspects like who you romance in the Mass Effect trilogy, but very interesting to like have conversations with Thane and just hear his really soft, smooth voice, but then it's got that like, it sounds like maybe like I don't know the musical term, but like a flanger effect or something like that on there of like, it's got that weird, just ominous sound to it, but at the same time you feel safe when talking to Thane.
I've accepted a contract. My arm is Shepard's.
Well, it's the classic like romance trope, isn't it? It's the brooding hero, or the person with a dark past, with that, the actual tenderness underneath there that you have to dig down to find. It's a classic romance trope.
He's the perfect assassin to go and recruit, and then his loyalty mission is like, I was a bad father and I want to make it up to my son.
I would like your help to stop him. This is not a path he should walk.
So, yeah, again, another great trope. He's caring, he's parental.
Or he wasn't parental.
He's nurturing. He's willing to admit his mistakes.
Because it was very funny going through his loyalty mission of like, why did you just like stop speaking to your son? He's like, well, I knew I'd be a bad father, so he'd be better off without me. It's like, no, Thane.
Yeah, you're half expecting us like just every now and again in a conversation of like, it's just Thane. Like, why are you such a good assassin? He's like, oh, my dick's too huge, my swag's too much.
I do love Thane, and it just, if anyone doesn't know and doesn't want spoilers, I guess, for Thane's character, it's like, it's 14 years, you can move on, but it makes me so sad that Thane doesn't return as a party member in number 3, because he's dying.
I've been to several doctors. My favorite gave me 3 months to live. 9 months ago.
And again, another element to like the sympathetic character part of of Thane's story.
It's one of the fascinating things about playing Mass Effect 2 straight after Mass Effect 1, where you can literally see more women entering production and writing characters. Of like just the characterization of Garrus alone, where they even give him like the hero scar.
Yeah.
Like they give him like the badass hero scar, and then he like spends all his time like brooding down in the dark underbelly of the ship. And then you walk in, and he like turns around, and he like leans slightly, and he's like, "Hey Shepard, how's it going?"
And I do love the fact that we've just had the moment where we could prompt Garrus for a romance, and that's where we had to make the decision, do we want to do the classic of romance Garrus or not? But when he's like, oh yeah, me and this other female Taurian, we were fighting out to relieve stress, and then we relieve stress in another way. And then he just turns to you, Shepard, and he's like, we could relieve stress in another way as well, Shepard. Is
There's nobody in this galaxy I respect more than you. If we can figure out a way to make it work, then yeah, definitely.
The thing as well, that's like so much less creepy than like the Shepard line in the first game if you romance like Ashley and Liara, and you can just try and awkwardly ask for a threesome. And it never works.
Oh dear, I didn't even know that was an option.
And it's so funny because like Shepard's like, can I not have you both? And just like they both leave.
Why do I have to make a choice? Maybe the three of us could,
In your dreams, Commander. I hope you two, or however many you end up with, will be happy together.
Like Baldur's Gate would let you do that.
But I also enjoy that some characters, specifically in Baldur's Gate, don't want to have a relationship like that.
Yep, some of them do, but you can have up to like a 5-person orgy in Baldur's Gate because the vampire has asked to join in.
Is one of them a bear?
One of them turns into a bear, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that cracks me up though is one of the guys who's like, I'm not into this, and he sends in like an astral projection of himself to watch. But then you see like the astral projection gets a boner, or they describe it getting a boner. So they've got like the voyeurist like aspect there. Like,
yeah.
Well, I don't want to have a threesome, but I'll watch you have one. And then he just like sends an astral projection in to watch you as he just like fucking uses magic to wank himself off. It's like, that game's amazing. Like, where's all like the biotic shit in the romance scenes of that like Mass Effect?
That is true. That is one thing where it was two very awkward character models like kind of smushing against each other because it was
Smashing
like the
dolls
early
together,
2000s.
Yeah. Tell me more about the Drell though.
The Drell, they also have 2 sets of eyelids akin to the nictating membrane possessed by certain animals such as reptiles. So think they've just got crocodile eyes basically.
They've got that one milky eyelid that they can shut so they can like still protect their eyes but see underwater.
Mm-hmm. Much like humans and Asari, Drell possess the ability to shed tears.
Well, he needs to shed tears so he can cry in the rain, so he can kiss him. So his tears can run down his lips and you can kiss him.
And that's the interesting thing, is that even in Mass Effect, that means that there's canon to which species can and can't cry.
I think Garrus cries when you kick his ass at that shooting competition.
I'm Garrus Vicarian, and this is now my favorite spot on the Citadel.
Like, do you think Grunt cries when you headbutt him? It's like, no. He just gets excited.
He gets his quad on. He just gets out of the quad chub. That's the thing, it's just the interactions in that game of, like I said, just headbutting a Krogan. Of course, it doesn't hurt them, but they respect the idea that you would have the balls to headbutt a Krogan.
Yeah, just one of them just backs off and just starts laughing of like, I like you. I like the fact that you'd headbutt me.
It didn't hurt, but they respect the fact that you are just willing to immediately escalate to violence. Like, you know what? That's the Krogan way.
That sounds like Shepard, alright. Sexual dimorphism among Drell appears to be roughly analogous to humans. Females have breast-like protrusions, and their head frills are more pronounced than males.
Of course they are.
And it would be great to see that in-game, wouldn't it, Carl? Because just, they never ever show... Like, you get to see one female Taurian in one DLC, and you never see, like, a female Drell. You see, I think, like, one female Krogan, maybe.
Yeah, she's dead on, like, a dissecting table in, like, I think, Grunt's loyalty mission.
No, I think you do get to meet the matriarch at one point as well, so there's only a couple, but there are so many examples of different species in the Mass Effect universe, but you get to see so few of them in both genders. It's nearly all of them just appearing as their male versions.
It's because, yeah, they didn't have many models. It's like the thing people point out, is it like all Asaris and female humans have the exact same model, which is why it's really weird to look at Dr. Chakwas between Mass Effect 1 and 2, where in Mass Effect 1 she's clearly supposed to be an older woman, but then she walks in and she's got the same, like, supermodel bod. And then in, like, Mass Effect 2, when they updated the models and gave everyone even more, like, voluptuous proportions, like, Dr. Chakwas, did you get some work done between games?
She's been working out, Carl.
The idea that you should be able to romance Dr. Chakwas.
You should be able to. But that medbay is just empty every time you walk in, so I imagine she's got a lot of spare time on her hand to drink brandy and work out all the time.
I think there should be, like, a couple of, like, options in Mass Effect. I've talked about this off. They need to do what they do in, like, Baldur's Gate, if you can just fuck up. The one where you can sleep with the matriarch and she just kills you with psychic powers.
Oh yeah, where you just, instead of going with Samara, you just go with Morinth instead. It's like, this is going to kill you, Shepard. Yeah, but I want to try. It's like, you pick the option and just get a game over.
I think what you should do is, if they ever remake Mass Effect, there needs to be, after you get resurrected by Cerberus, multiple points in the game where you can make stupid fucking decisions like that kill you, and then Cerberus should resurrect you.
It just smash cuts to, like, a conversation of Miranda calling up just Mr. Sinister himself and just going, he's done it again. She's done it again.
But the game should not tell you how many of those you can do. So after a certain point, it should be a total failure and a game over. Like, it's not worth bringing him back this time because he's just too much of an idiot. But there should be, like, multiple just stupid decisions like that you can make.
So she's gone and killed herself again. We haven't got the budget anymore. We can't bring them back.
It's like, have you ever played through Detroit Become Human?
No, I've not, no.
Okay, so one of the characters in that you play as, Connor, is a robot. And a gimmick is that you can die multiple times throughout the story, and every time you do, you just get replaced by a new Connor model. And there's, like,
I didn't know that.
But it actually makes the game way more interesting, because now, during most games, you're not going to die in this cutscene because there's still, like, a bunch of story to do. You absolutely do fear for the character, because you absolutely can die and get replaced by a new Connor. And you get, like, an amazing moment where, like, just you're talking to Clancy Brown and he shoots you in the head, and then the next day you turn up to work and you say, "Why did you shoot me?"
Why did you shoot me last night?
Who cares? You're back this morning, aren't you?
But they need to have that, like, just Mass Effect, so then they can put more examples of a line in. "Shepard, I thought you died. I got better."
Shepard, but you're dead.
I got better.
Well, he's like, "Shepard, I heard you slept with Morinth and died." It's like, "I got better."
We had the technology. We could rebuild them.
The thing is, it should smash cut as well to, like, Shepard in the recovery room, like that episode of Futurama with the snoo.
Oh yeah, I had snoo.
Sleeping with, like, the odd yak, she just completely nullifies your brain.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be like a brain cast on top of Shepard.
Just the immediate smash cut to them wheeling Shepard out of a space hospital in a full body cast. I'm like, don't do it again. And then immediately you just go straight back to a room and ask for it again.
You get back onto the Normandy, you go to your emails and like, Morinth. It's like, oh no. Not again, Shepard.
They need to do that. It'd be such a fun thing. Like I said, there's so many examples like Baldur's Gate where you can do that, where you can intentionally pick bad decisions just to see what the fuck happens, and the game lets you roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just intentionally antagonize people for no reason just to see what happens, and it will completely ruin your game. But they let you keep going.
Yeah, that's great.
I'd love that in Mass Effect.
Bring in a new species in Mass Effect 5 with a revival spell so that you can just keep fucking up.
No, I think as well, there needs to put in, like, they need to have Paragon and Renegade options, but but you can fuck them up.
Yes.
Because I think there should be Paragon and Renegade options. You should be able to do them, even if you know you're not good enough. Again, in Baldur's Gate, you can, like, if you fail, like, a strength check, you'll still get the, like, oh, I want to kick down the door. You'll get the animation of your character fucking up, kicking down the door.
Yeah, that would be a cool way to do it. So rather than the option just being grayed out, it's just, you get to try the Paragon or Renegade option regardless, but the better your score, the higher chance you've got of success.
Yeah, and you should be able to fuck it up intentionally, like, you know, when you headbutt the Krogan. Mm-hmm. You should be able to do that, but, like, you've not got enough Renegade points, so it just fails, and then the Krogan just, like, shoots you a shotgun in the dick.
You just miss the headbutt.
Yeah. I'd love that. Because it adds, like, the role-playing element. I want to, you know, I'm a fuck up in real life. I should be in the video game.
But yes, go back to the Drell. The Drell ancestors emerged from arid, rocky deserts, the humid, ocean-covered Hanar homeworld of Karj proved tolerable only when the Drell stayed inside a climate-controlled dome city. So they're just locked inside a little dome city on the
oh man, it's like the opening.
homeworld.
Yeah, it's like the opening to like Godzilla versus Kong, where they've just got King Kong in just like his little gorilla dome.
Oh no.
And he's so sad in the gorilla dome.
The leading cause of death for Drell on Karj is Keppel syndrome, which Thane Krios himself has. It's caused by cumulative long-term exposure to a humid climate. The syndrome erodes the ability of Drell lungs to take in oxygen and eventually spreads out to their other organs.
I will never forget the shitpost video my friend sent me of, like, you romance Thane and then you take him to that one planet that's got rain and he instantly dies. Because that's like a thing in the game. If you take him to there's a planet with rain, if you take him there, he instantly dies.
Oh,
it's
no.
like they romance him and take him to that planet and then just start fucking just shimmying on his corpse. I want to know what a Hanar scientist looks like. I want to see a Hanar in a little scientist jacket.
Yeah, that is the weird thing, because I guess Thane is the only real Drell that we get to interact with in the game, and the loyalty mission also shows off his son trying to be an assassin as well, but because of that, you only ever get to see two assassin Drell, and I guess, yeah, you don't really get the kind of variety that you might do with some other species. Like, at least with Solarians, you get to see some of them being doctors and scientists and warriors and stuff like that.
I just love the Solarian, like, special forces, where they're so pragmatic. Like, in the first game when you encounter them, it's like, so you're not bothered that you're going to die? And it goes, well, I guess, but this is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because their culture is like a thing like complete pragmatism, where they understand like the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
It's like when you've got to give like the speech to them, like the Solarian's like, well, you need to give a speech to convince your men to go on a suicide mission while you're pussies.
It's funny, because, you know, you did talk about Starship Troopers on yesterday's video, and that's just the perfect thing, isn't it, of just having the drones, like the Rachni and the Krogan and the Solarians, where they're all just like, yes, send me in. I'll die.
I love it.
It doesn't matter.
I love war.
It's all for the greater good. The Drell possess eidetic memories, an adaptation to a world where they must remember the location of every necessary resource across vast distances. It's just, well, I guess we've got to have perfect recall because we just need it to survive. Now, memories are so strong that an external stimulus can trigger a powerful memory recall. These recalls are so vivid and detailed that some Drell may mistake it for reality.
The console beeps. I put him down. Click the message. Father, he pleads. Tugs my sleeve. I need to read this, I say. I don't look at him.
If a Drell watched me go to my fridge 4 times in the same afternoon, forgetting what I've got in there, would just look at me like that it's time to go in the home. See, that's what they do.
That thing where you check the fridge, you close it, and then you're like, wait, what was in there? And just open it back up. It's like, you would just die so quickly if you were on our planet.
Or do you walk into a room and forget what you were in there for?
Mm-hmm.
See, a Drell sees that and just goes...
You can't even remember where you left your car keys. What are you going to do?
It's like the Drell's like, I remember where I took a shit when I was 4-year-old.
I think quite literally, Carl, because Thane Krios, for example, remembers every assassination he has ever performed and can describe them in flawless detail. He says he prefers to spend a lonely night with the perfect memory of another.
He's written to be fuckable. Like, what a good line that is. I remember everything I've ever done. So I like to spend a lot of lonely nights just thinking of a better night. And then when you romance him, he's like, oh, well, I guess now I've got another memory I can think of on lonely nights. It's like, oh, that's such a good line. It's like,
just
dude,
add it to the bank.
Dude, you've already laid your Drell pipe. You don't need to keep it. She's got the landing lights out.
The thing is, it says this process can be involuntary. So just at any point, he might just blurt out, like, just any romantic past relations that he's had.
Oh man, like the Drell have an inbuilt excuse for screaming another girl's name during sex.
So I'm sorry, it was involuntary. It just reminded me of another person.
Oh man, like, I love as well. He remembers every assassination in flawless detail. It must be really annoying if you fuck up.
Yeah.
If you're just remembering in flawless detail that time you fell down the stairs.
That's the thing is, obviously we are prone generally as humans to remember failures and embarrassing things more often, but imagine A, you can remember every single one in flawless detail, B, at any point it can be involuntary triggered to just remember that time you pooped your pants. It's like, oh no, not again.
Right, and tell me about their history. I want to know how they came into contact with the Hanar. Like, how did these weird jellyfish people be like, yo, human?
The Drell ancestor emerged from dry, rocky deserts on the barren world of Rakana around the 1380s CE, which again, I think is just Earth years. Earth date 1380. The already arid Drell homeworld began its swift descent into lifelessness due to disastrous industrial expansion.
I wonder if there's a message there.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any messaging in this sci-fi media.
We absolutely obliterated our planet to the point of lifelessness.
Yeah, via aggressive industrial expansion, not caring for the natural resources we're exploiting. But we all know, Lucas, that no sci-fi has any underlying message. We talked about that yesterday.
Just none of it at all. At the time, the Drell lacked interstellar flight capacity, and with their population bursting at 11 billion, they faced certain doom. So it was around the 1980s that the Hanar made first contact with the Drell race. In the following 10 years, the Hanar would transport a total of 375,000 Drell to the Hanar homeworld. Yeah, it's not that the Hanar came in with 18 shotguns on every limb and just annihilated them all.
I guess they probably do appreciate that, but the Hanar are jellyfish people. Could they have not dropped them off on a different planet? One without, an atmosphere that is deadly to them. But I guess that's like the sci-fi trope, isn't it? It's the cruel irony.
They've got to be grateful for being rescued at all, Carl.
Yeah, the cruel irony is that our rescuers are, completely incompatible with our own culture.
Mm-hmm. And we're just locked in a dome city or made assassins for the Hanar. The remaining billions left on Rakana would perish on their dying planet, warring against each other for diminishing resources. The Drell now thrive coexisting with the Hanar and have been part of a galactic civilization for roughly 2 centuries.
Oh yeah, good for them.
It's just one of those of I guess that they're thriving. They're just trapped in a city being assassins to the Hanar, but it's better than all of you just going into civil war and murdering each other on a dying planet.
And I guess the Hanar has almost been really fucking chill. Like you couldn't talk to a Hanar and be annoyed. Like, hello, human. It's like, I'm so calm when I'm talking to the Hanar.
And then we'll just go to some trivia here.
Yes.
In the trivia, one of the first things I saw was just, while giving a female shepherd interspecies sexual advice, Mordin Solar states that in humans, sustained skin contact with Drell can cause rashes, as well as hallucinations if the contact is oral. And I love the idea of just Shepard walking into the lab and being like, Mordin, I need advice. How do I get laid with Thane?
Enjoy yourself while possible, Shepard. We'll be here studying cell reproduction. Much simpler, less alcohol and mood music required.
When you romance an alien in Mass Effect 2, you have to go to Mordin to get the space condom. So you have to go like, okay, how the hell am I gonna fuck like a Aquarian? And he has to like give like the booster shots like to basically delete your immune system.
I love that. I'm just going in and Shepard's like, I'm real horny for that Thane. Is there compatibility more than you explain this to me? Give me the checklist.
He's like, is there a hole there? What do I do with it?
The Drell are the only race without a primary codex entry in Mass Effect 2. It appears that one did exist during development, but it was cut before the game's release. The oversight has now been corrected and deemed canon, as per confirmation in BioWare's N7HQ website.
I was about to say, that's a bit... Like, it's literally one of the main characters of your crew and you don't know anything about his culture or people.
Just, that's so harsh. Of like, we just gave up on their codex entry and didn't put it in the game.
I love the codex entries in Mass Effect. They're so good. Like, they're so fun.
I'm not typically one of the people that sit down and read all the ancillary content in games. Like, I play Destiny a lot and I rarely read like all of the lore tabs and stuff like that. But I would highly suggest it if you are doing a Mass Effect playthrough, because the codex is just so well written, and a lot of it can be voiced as well.
Yeah, there's that really... I think, remember the first one, every primary codex entry is just voiced. And it was really cool just to sit there and listen to like an introduction to this universe. One of the reasons I love the universe so much was just sitting down and listening to those codexes, like, oh, this is a really interesting like sci-fi concept. I want to see this explored more, and it is throughout the game. And
then you go to Mass Effect 2 and you're like, oh hey, that Thane's really awesome. Can I learn more about him? No, fuck you.
The only thing you know about Thane is that he's got those big old kissable lips. That's all you need to know.
You just Google, hey, what about the Drell? And it's like, Drell do not exist in this universe. What? He's right there.
He's friends with the Hanar. Give me a Hanar like companion in the new game.
I just want that gun-wielding Hanar as a party member. That's all I need.
Right, it should be like, Joe, when you like play Fallout and you got the mysterious stranger.
Every now and then, a Hanar with a shotgun just appears.
Give me the mysterious Hanar wearing the hat. And I'm just playing, and he just comes in, and he's just like, pew, 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 pew. The mysterious Hanar.
The fact that Mysterious Stranger as a concept, like as a game element, has not been added into more games, just why does every game not just have the chance at any point for a random dude in a duster to show up and shoot everyone?
The thing is, I want that in every game, including games where it doesn't make sense. I want
just
it in FIFA.
Give it to me in FIFA.
Yeah, I was going to say, put me in FIFA, I'm about to take like a penalty. I want the Mysterious Stranger to show up and just shoot Wayne Rooney.
Oh, it shows how in tune Karl is with football, where like the footballer he mentions is Wayne Rooney.
The thing is, I just want that. I want it in every single game. I say, put it in Wayne Rooney, put it in like Mario. Contextualize it to the universe as well. Like if you're doing like the FIFA game, it's just a fan throwing a brick onto the field. Like during FIFA, they need to put in, if you play in like a shit stadium, they need to have fans throwing stuff on the pitch.
Oh god.
Like, do you ever see that one where it's like a guy trying to take a penalty and like 90% of the audience behind the keeper's net have laser pointers? You see the player just stood with his hand on his hips.
Blind him.
And he's just stood on his hips. He's like, he just looks at the referee and the referee says, well, you got to take the fucking shot because there's nothing we can do. And you just see like 1 billion lasers in his eyes.
As always, thank you for watching another episode of Wiki Weekends. And let us know below who your favourite Mass Effect romanceable character is. And why is it just Garrus? Because everyone's just going to say Garrus.
Garrus he's just the best.
But I'm looking forward to going and seeing what a Thane romance looks like. And you can go and find a link to my Twitch below, where on Mondays you can find me and Karl going through the Mass Effect trilogy.
Hell, goddamn yes.
Maybe Andromeda, but I don't know if we want to commit to that.
No, not yet now.
No. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.